It's Rich with Rich Baum Photography with yet another tutorial to try and help you guys to aspire to shoot better, get better jobs, and do better work. And really doing this tutorial, we're just going to go over, I think, 3 or 4 photos really quickly to edit them and to show you that it really isn't that hard and it really doesn't take that long and it doesn't take zillions of shots. We can just, for this one, it's going to be 3 shots, but a couple of these are just 2 shots, really, really quick. So let's just get right into it. Okay, this is the finished shot right here. And this is, excuse me, I'm very pleased with the outcome. This house was really easy to photograph. It was really, really bright. So we're going to just get into this right now. So I'm going to start with the ambient shot. And I'm going to reset this back to 0. And what I'm going to do with the ambient shot, I shot this at 1/6 of a second. And it's f8 and ISO 320. So I'm just going to bring down the highlights in this one. And I'm going to bring down the exposure a little bit because I want it to match this shot over here. I want it to, I'm sorry, this is the flash shot. So here's the ambient, and I'm going to use parts of the ambient like back here. So what I want to do is kind of, it's a little dark back here. I didn't put any lights back here. I just have one streak light by camera bouncing off. I'm holding it like a light on a stick, putting it right above the camera, and it's bouncing off this white ceiling. And so I'm just going to go and use the ambient here to bring this up a little bit. And I'm also going to change the white balance, make it a little less warm. Okay, so this is pretty usable here. And I've got my flash shot right here. And I'm going to take this here, I'm going to reset this. So I'm going to do my special sauce down here. And once it pops in, and I'm going to bring down the exposure a little bit here. We're mainly using this exposure for here. And another thing I'm going to do for this shot is I'm going to do a window pull. So I wanted to go over this. Let me go back. This is right out of camera. I'm going to do the full bump on this also, but I'm going to bring it down, and I'm watching the exposure in the window. My thing is I pointed the streak light right at the window. So my goal here is to overexpose everything around the window and underexpose the view. So there we go. I'll bring it right about. I'm just looking for the exposure here that I want. I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Oops, a little bit too far. Okay. I think this is actually a little dark right about there. I like it. I like the exposure in those windows here too. So I've got my shots going on. So I'm going to highlight this one, the ambient. I'm going to highlight the flash and the window. And I'm going to edit in layers in Photoshop. Okay, and this is just going to take a second to go in. But again, we're going to be doing a few easy images. These are really easy to do. And, you know, you don't have to do HDR. You don't have to do 20 layers of light pops. You could just do a couple of layers and come away with what I would say is a mighty fine product. So anyway, okay, let me close this out. I don't know why this selective tool dialog box for define keeps coming up, but I can't get rid of it. Anyway, okay. We have our ambient shot on the top. Down here is the flash. No, actually, I'm going to turn off this and this. This is the window. I'm just going to name it, although I know what it is. When you're only dealing with 3 layers, you don't really have to worry about it. Okay, I'm going to turn on this one. This is the ambient. And that's the flash. Okay, so I've named these. So I'm going to highlight, I'm going to turn on these 2 layers. I'm going to click on the ambient layer, and I'm going to go down here and make a new layer mask. I'm going to hold down the Option key and click Add a new layer mask. So basically, I'm going to use all this stuff up in the front, the flash stuff, and I'm just going to go enlarge it just a little bit and I'm going to go work back here. What I want to do is I'm painting white. I've got my paintbrush selected. It's a nice soft brush here, and I want it to be about, just 20% hardness. Anyway, that looks good, and I've got it on, I'm going to do 6% flow. If you're just starting out, I'd recommend maybe do a little less flow, because you don't need a lot. A little goes a long way. Okay, so let's work on this exposure in here, okay? Let's just go bring this up a little bit in here. Okay. So that's making that come out a lot nicer. And this is also nice. I mean, this is a really bright house, but I don't have a light back here, and everything's going to be coming in. Remember, I'm masking in the ambient. Okay? A little bit down there. Now let's bring the exposure up in here a little bit to the window. Good. Okay, now, next thing I want to do is I want to bring in the ambient for the ceiling, and you'll see this ambient is going to bring in a nice, really nice in here. There you go. Okay. And I probably shouldn't have had my lights on here for this shot, because you don't really need it with this kind of a shot. Anyway, I'm going to bring in a little bit of ambient light over here. There we go. A little bit around the windows. And I can mask over the windows because we're going to do that window pull. Okay. A little bit under the table here. A little bit here. And it's a little underexposed back in here. But I can work on that later when I go back into Lightroom. So, yeah, this is almost all ambient back there now. Okay, I'm going to try and see if the ambience can look better here. Nope, I don't like it, so I'm going to click X and erase that. I don't like that. Okay, great. Now, I'm going to go turn on the window layer, highlight it, and I'm going to make a new layer mask. Okay, so I'm going to do my window pull right here. Remember, I've overexposed the window, and I'm going to raise my flow up to 100%. Okay, and I'm going to put this into darken mode. So everything I paint here, if it's brighter, it's not going to mask in. It's only going to mask in the view. So watch how cool this is. If you haven't seen the darken mode, we have to paint in also. So it's got to be white. Okay, you ready? Here we go. Bam, 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 bam. Pretty nice, huh? Didn't have to mask anything. Didn't have to select anything. Just, I'm going to redo that. And let's go back one more time. Look at that. Sweet, huh? Anyway, perfect. Now, I have a little bit of work to do back here because I can't use the darken mode. I'm going to go back to regular here. Oops, you know what? I can't go back there. I have to keep it on darken mode. Okay, so anyway, I'm just going to go here. Little bit of freehand. I'm going to bring down the opacity to about 10% here. And I'm just going to go paint that in a little bit. There we go, freehand. I can't do the darken mode back there because I didn't overexpose the window frame. Okay, so I'm just going to paint that in. Remember, that's all the way in the background. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just quick, nice and easy. There you go. Okay, there we go. And one thing I'm going to do, I'm going to flatten this. So let's just go here. And I'm going to go into layers. I'm going to flatten my image. And I'm going to go back into Lightroom. And I want to have another exposure to bring a little more light to here. First, I'm going to check this out. If I can expose this brighter, there we go. Good. Okay. I like this exposure. So all I'm going to do here is edit in Photoshop. So basically I took the same exposure I had before and I changed the exposure. I could have duplicated it, but I didn't. I just changed it, and I'm going right here now, and I'm going to go Window, Align, Arrange, Side by Side. I'm going to bring in a new layer. There we go. I'm not going to save it, and I hope I'm not going over your heads on this one, but I want to keep this going kind of quick. Okay, so here I am. I'm just going to mask in. We're back here. I want to bring it back down to 6%. And I'm just going to bring a little more exposure into here. Okay. Not bad. Okay. Anyway, I could have done this in about 2 minutes if I was not doing this. So I'm going to do Command SW, and that's going to save it back to Lightroom. And I'm just going to do now my final bump, which is a little bit of, you can see it right here, a little bit of contrast, and looks good. Maybe a little bit of sharpness, and I'm going to crop out a little bit here. I don't like it so wide. There we go, right about there, and right about there. Okay, I'm happy with it. Looks good, huh? Okay, I'll take that. Anyway, let's go to the next shot, the next set of shots. Here is the final shot right here. You can see it right here, and I like the way this turned out, so we're going to do it right now. Okay, we're going to start with the ambient shot. Let me reset it. Here's our ambient shot, and actually I could have probably used the ambient shot here, but what I'm going to do here is, this is the lit shot. I'm going to reset it. So you can see that we've got the attributes. I don't like that these aren't lined up perfectly. I'm really bummed out I missed that. But we can see the ambience here, and you can see the flash has a little bit nice attributes here. You can see it. But what we're going to do is the flash has a big flash hotspot here. So then it's got some shadows from the ceiling pendant lights. So what we're going to do is utilize the best of here and the best of here, and we're going to get this. Okay, so let's start off here. I'm going to basically make this a little bit cooler. Get rid of the, now this is blue, just so you know. Get rid of the orange here, which is good. And now I'm going to lose the highlights. Now I'm going to take the flash shot, and I'm going to do my full bump here to get it nice and sharp. And we're going to use parts of this, but parts we don't want. We like the lights here. The exposure of the lights is better than the ambient. Okay, you see the ambient's kind of blown out. We're going to use this, this, and this. Okay, so I'm going to highlight both of these, and I'm going to edit in, open as layers in Photoshop. And we're going to do this a real quick one. I want to just show you guys that this can be super quick and easy. 2 quick shots, and I only did, like, I might have bracketed 2 shots each. So it doesn't take extra time, doesn't take extra long, but it certainly is worth the extra effort. Okay, so I've got my ambient shot on top. I'm going to hold down the Option key, click a layer mask. So what I'm going to do is mask in the ambient. So the first thing I want to do is get rid of the ceiling shadows. So I'm back here at 6%. I'm just going to mask in here. Look at that. So fast and easy. There we go. Okay. Now let's go here and let's get rid of the shine on this cabinet here. Okay. Done deal right there. A little bit here too. There you go. And underneath these cabinets, I'm going to bring a little bit of ambient. There we go. I like it. Yeah. Okay. Now, what else do I want to bring in? Not much. Again, this house was really easy. Now let me see if I bring in some ambient here. Oh, that actually makes it look a little nicer. There we go. The floor's nicer. There we go. Little shadows. Let me see a little bit of ambient in here. And there we go. Okay, the only other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to flatten the layers, flatten the image. I want to get rid of this up in the ceiling. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to take my patch tool and I'm going to circle this here. And I'm actually going to take out the light because I'm in a hurry. I should probably leave it in there, but I'm just going to bring this over here. And there I go. Okay, so we don't have these hot spots on the ceiling. In reality, I should probably leave the light there because it does come with the house. But I'll be honest with you, nobody's going to notice. And I think it looks good. So that looks a little bit better. It's a little bit shoddy work. But anyway, there you go. We got that photo done. So let's go back in the Lightroom. Again, I'm just going to do the final bump, a little bit of contrast and clarity. And I'm going to bring this in here, right there. Bring this in right there. And this is also shot with the Sony a6000, and it's got the Samyang 12 millimeter. Okay, next shot. Let's go into a bedroom. Okay, this is really a fun shot. I like how this turned out. This is the ambient shot, and this is 1/15 of a second, so it's a pretty long exposure, and it's a lot of bright sunlight coming in here. It's not really sunlight coming in here. Sunlight was coming in from this side of the window, but there's plenty of light in this room. And actually, I wanted the ambient to really highlight in the bathroom because I'm not putting a light in there. Okay, so we've got this. I'm going to again take down the warmth just a little bit more on the cool side. Get rid of. Let's go back a second. You see it's kind of orangey here. I'm just going to bring it back down just a tad. There we go. Okay, take out the highlights. Brought it back a little bit. You can see here. Bring it back a little bit in the window. Okay, now let's go here with the lit shot. And all this lit shot is, this is at 1/200th of a second. And I probably ISO 320. What I wanted was the exposure here. So we're going from 1/15 of a second to 1/200th of a second. So this is basically one streak light pointing right above the ceiling, straight up. You can see I got a little bit of shadow here, but you're going to see in the ambient shot, I'm going to use the ceiling. See how much whiter it is? How much nicer it is? Okay. So let me go here though. It's going back to reset. So here's the shot straight out of camera. And you can see I don't have any exposure back in here, but that's what we're going to use that for. The ambient in there. So I'm going to do a full bump. My special sauce, bring down the exposure to what I think looks good. Maybe right about there. Perfect. A little bit darker. Okay, right there. So I'm going to highlight these two. I'm going to bring them, edit in, layers in Photoshop. And I actually raised my camera up a little bit because I wanted to see out. I did another set of photos down lower, and you couldn't see out the view, and the agent came in and said, I want to really see the view here. So I raised my camera. I could have probably used my tilt shift even more to raise it higher and be able to see the view better. Okay, so I've got my ambient shot on top. Always, I'm going to do Option, make a new layer mask, and I'm going to go back in the paint, and I'm on white. I'm on 6%. So let's deal with the ceiling first. Okay, there we go. Look at that, how nice that is. Got rid of that shadow. There we go. Beauty. A little bit here. I'm going to bring a little bit back in here. Okay, now I'm going to zoom in a little bit. Oops. Zoom in just a little bit. I can see what I'm doing. Okay, now I'm going to freehand this. So I'm just going to make this about the size of this door. And I'm not going to start down in here. And you can see. Pretty cool. And for this shot, I don't really think I need a light in there. It is a little warmer. but it's not extreme. And I think it's right there. I think it's good. Now I'm going to go erase a little bit back in here. Boom, boom. Okay. Yeah, I like that. That's good. And now the only thing else I'm going to do here is to bring in a little bit of the ambient here. Oops, I got to go back to painting. I had it on black. So let's go back in here. Back in here. Just a little bit here too. Down on the floor a little bit. Not too much. Just a teeny little bit here. There we go. Okay. Actually like that. Let me go back here and erase that. Now, I'm going to go paint in a little bit of ambient here. Ooh, I like that. Just adds a little realism to it, in my opinion. And there we go. That was pretty darn quick. Okay? So I'm going to go back here, and I just want to show you really, really quickly, because my point is to show that this, I get a lot of people that go, it's just too much work. Well, it really isn't too much work, in my opinion. So I'm going to highlight these two. I'm going to go bring it in, merge as layers in Photoshop. I just want to do it one more time, real time. So this is what I would be doing if I was editing this myself. Once it opens, the slowest part of the edit is opening up in Photoshop. Okay, here we go. Okay, so okay, what was that? 25 seconds? Save and bring back. There we go. It looks good, and I'm pleased. And there you go. Okay, so it really is quick and easy. That was the whole purpose of this tutorial. And now we're going to do the last set of photos. Here's the bathroom right now. Okay, so we've got a few issues here. These are not issues. These are the finished image, and I'm very pleased with this image. So what we're going to do, though, is do a couple of shots here. We got one. I'm going to bring it back, reset it. We got the ambient, and we've got the flash. Reset. Okay, so ambient shot. I'm going to have to bring this down, highlights down a little bit, bring it down a little bit here. There we go. I'm going to bring it a little bit blue. Okay. So I'm going to be using, I've got my reflection here. I actually cloned this out. I'm not going to do it for this tutorial. I could crop inside of there, so don't worry about the camera. I put it way over in this corner. Okay. I'm mainly going to use this ambient for this reflection in this mirror and a little bit of shadows down in here. So I've got that. Now my flash shot, I'm going to do my full bump, my special sauce, okay? Now I'm going to bring it down to the exposure that I want. Oh, and by the way, this is 1/60th of a second because I wanted the window here. So I have a streak light pointing straight up. You can see it. I'm holding my streak light out here. You can see me. Look at that. That is a funky face. Anyway, pointing it straight up here, but the nice thing is you can't see it in the ceiling. So I've got great exposure for here. So I was exposing for here and for the window. So I got f8, 1/60th of a second. Okay, so I've got good exposure here. I'm going to use most of this shot. So let's bring it in, highlight both of these, edit in, layers in Photoshop. Okay? So the first thing I'm going to do, and I want to show you again. I'm going to wait till this brings it into Photoshop a second. Hold on. Let me come back to Lightroom. Again, I'm going to use the mirror here So I don't care that I'm here. Remember, I'm only going to use this part, okay? So we're back in Photoshop. I'm going to make a layer mask. Okay, so I'm going to do this. And I could do it freehand, but I'm just, for tutorial purposes, I'm going to do the polygonal lasso tool. I would do the complete mirror. Here we go. I can be a little rough because I can do that. Okay, let's go back in here. I'm going to do 6% again. So I'm just going to mask in the ambient shot. Bye-bye. Okay. There we go. Okay, so deselect that. I could have gotten better up in here. You know, actually I could probably still do it in freehand. I got a little bit of chromatic aberration up in there. Okay, and I've got my camera here. I cloned it out, but I'm not going to do that for this tutorial. But I'm going to show you we could crop it. So actually the photo's almost perfect the way it is, but I'm still going to bring in a little bit of ambient just down in here. Okay. Now I want some ambient in the ceiling. And I'm just showing you guys that ambient for the ceiling is usually pretty good. Okay? Okay. Right here, maybe a little bit of ambient there. Okay. Well, that looks pretty darn good to me. So I'm going to save it and bring it back into Lightroom. And you know what? For the sake of getting this camera out, I took the time to clone it, but I think we could easily just crop it out. It would be a fine bathroom shot if we made it there. Not quite as good. Okay, there you go. So I think, and I could probably even come a little bit tighter over here. Actually bring it up. I want to see that lamp in there. Actually, you know, one thing I'm going to do is real quick. Watch what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to magnify this in here. And in Lightroom, we have a clone tool, which doesn't ever work very well. But I'm just going to do my clone tool here. Okay. So now I want to just bring it. I can pretty much bring it here. Nope, that doesn't look very good. So I'm going to eat crow and tell you it didn't look very good. I'll tell you, never use the clone tool in Lightroom because it looks like garbage. So I'm going to go back to cropping it out. There we go. Okay. Oops. There we go. Whoops. Hold on a second. I'm going to go to fit. Okay. Let's go back. Full shot. There we go. And I think the shot looks really good, and it was super easy to do. That's all ambient in there. I could have probably gotten rid of some of this warmth, but you know what? I'm pretty happy with it. And there we go. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you very much. I just want to show you that this stuff is super, super fast and easy to do. And I'm just going to do one more shot for you. Let's do a really small bedroom. This is really, really simple. Okay, here is a bedroom we all have. There is the ambient shot. What I'm going to do is bring the color a little bit bluer. There we go. And here is the, now this was a single speed light pointed straight up inside the door into the ceiling. This is 1/40th of a second. This is 1/5 of a second. Just trying to get the exposure similar. Okay, so we just highlight it, edit it, go in here. Once it opens up, and I'm going to show you one other thing that is really cool. I just saw a tutorial on it this morning, and it is making a fire effect in Photoshop. So 1, 2, 3, here we go. Bam, bam, bam. Bam. Okay. There you go. Okay, now that was all it takes, in my opinion. I think it's worth it. Got a little yellow down in there, but I could take a lot longer on all this stuff, but I don't want to. I'm going to go back into here, and we're going to do one more shot since I'm on a roll. And we're going to look here. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, we can do this image. I'm just going to do the fire effect. Actually, I'm going to do this image from start to finish. Here is the ambient shot, and here is the lit shot. So I'm just going to bring these both into Photoshop. This was a really easy house, so I'm not trying to say that all my houses are this easy. This might be the easiest house of the year. Really nice, enjoyable house to photograph. Anyway, I'm just going to do this real time, really quick. Here we go. Okay, just going to bring back a little ambient here. I'm going to bring in a little ambient back in here. There we go. Oh yeah, a little ambient back in there is looking nice. There we go. Getting a little color casts on it, but I'm not too unhappy with it. And I'm going to bring in a little ceiling ambient up here. A little bit of ambient back in here. Okay. There you go. Okay, so now I'm going to flatten this layer, flatten. Now, we're going to do the flame effect in Photoshop. Okay, so we're going to start off by here. We're going to go Shift Command N for a new layer, and we're going to call this fire. Okay, we're going to go okay. Good. Now we're going to zoom in here, and we're going to take our pen tool. We're just going to press P for pen, where it's over here, and we have our fire here. I want to put my fire from here up, down. You're going to see why I'm doing what I'm doing in a second. Okay, there we go. I've got my path there, my pen, and I'm going to go up into filter. I'm going to go into render flame. Okay, it's doing its thing. Now it brings up a dialog box. And I know from doing this picture earlier, I want the length about 157. So you really just got to play around with, like, the width would be, that's the width is going to affect that. I like this better here. There we go. The length is the length of the flame there. That's really big. I don't want that. So let me go here. Maybe just a little bit smaller. Okay, and I go okay. It's bringing it in, and there you go. Huh? Pretty cool. Okay, now the only problem is I want to do now, it's on normal. I want to go down here and I want to click screen mode, which gives it a little bit of reflection of the existing things there. I'm now going to bring down my opacity a little bit. There we go. Now, the other thing I'm going to do too is I'm going to create a mask here. And what I'm going to do is erase. I'm going to get my eraser tool. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit. I'm going to erase a little bit of this where it's not, where it wouldn't be. So I'm going to bring this back to 15% is good. Here we go. Bring it, erasing a little bit here. Just whatever looks natural. Okay. You know what, I might be able to bring up the opacity just a little bit. Bring up the opacity, there we go. Okay. There we go. Okay. So I'm going to go save this. And that is the fire tool in the rendering fire. Pretty cool. Okay, and here we go. I'm going to do my final bump here. Get a little bit of, come on, here we go. Yeah, a little contrasty, a little sharpening, and there we go. I'm very pleased. Okay, so there you have it. That was a pretty quick edit. So anyway, guys and girls, I thank you. Send me messages. I love it. The feedback's been great. Got some new stuff coming up, but really, really enjoying helping you guys out. And please, just do better, work, aspire, get better jobs, and let's all go retire in the Bahamas and shoot hotels or something, okay? Talk to you later. This is Rich Baum in Sacramento, California, saying sayonara.